Remember how we've been telling you that Palestine, specifically Gaza, but also all of Palestine, is a testing ground for the West's weaponry? When we said that the weapons that they use on Palestinians in Palestine will eventually make their way to American soil. And when we even gave you an example of an Israeli chemical weapon of war being used on American students on an American campus at Columbia University. So I was down in New Orleans over the weekend for the Gulf Coast Rally for Palestine. And it was there that I learned that not only has Israeli chemical weaponry made its way to American soil, but so has technological weaponry made in Israel. Take a look at this camera. So these are all over the streets of New Orleans in heavily pedestrian populated areas. These are all over the city of New Orleans. Literally all over the city. Literally all over. And so what these cameras do is they continuously scan crowds in search of people's faces in order to match them with a criminal database. Before anyone goes, oh, but don't we want that? Don't we want to catch criminals? Don't we want to be safer? They don't work, and it's proven over and over and over again that AI is racist technology. It's also already wrongfully identified people, leading to wrongful convictions for crimes that were not committed by the people who are going to jail for said crimes. I'm sure you're wondering where this technology comes from. And if you've been paying attention, I'm sure you won't be surprised to learn that it is Israeli technology that has been tested on Palestinians in Palestine. So this article is from 2021 when Israel first ramped up its surveillance of Palestinians throughout occupied Palestine. And if you've heard Palestinians in Palestine talk about the type of surveillance that they're experiencing, you've probably heard stories about how these cameras literally point inside of Palestinian homes. They're watching Palestinians inside their homes. They're not just street cameras anymore. And it looks like stories about these cameras first being used in the US popped up in 2022 when Israeli facial recognition was now being used in US casinos across America. And now they're on the streets. So my question when I see things like this is, how long do you think it will take these to turn into these, which if you don't know what these are, let me tell you about them. These are called twin robotic guns, and these are positioned all over occupied Palestine, pointing at the entrances to Palestinian refugee camps and densely populated Palestinian cities. The Israeli military claims that these robotic guns are non-lethal and only shoot things like tear gas and stun grenades and other forms of non-lethal weaponry. We should all know very well now how we should feel about the things that the Israeli military tells us is true. So remember, it starts off with things like skunk water, and then it turns into AI facial recognition cameras all over your city. And then that turns into cameras that shoot you all over your city. And then there's probably some stuff sprinkled in between, and then it's the bombs. If you think that the United States won't bomb its own people on its own soil,